Hello and welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Chris with the CHRILLCAST, and today we have a topic about Persona. Just for the record, these are my opinions, and my opinions don't have to reflect yours. So if you have a different opinion, make sure you guys comment down below and let me know what you think. So let's get started. As you all know, we've talked about this in other episodes, but there is a pattern with Persona games that very few other series really repeat. Very rarely ever see other series do this, but when it comes to Persona, there's almost always a re-release of the game in some form or fashion. And today we're going to talk about whether that re-release obsoletes the original release, and we'll also take a look at what happens to the price of those games, whether they're affected. Alright, if you guys like these kinds of videos, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get started. Obviously, the first one, the one that started it all in the West anyway, Revelations Persona on the PlayStation 1. This was a fat case PS1 game that only actually has one disc in it. Now, this game did get a re-release in English in the US, and it has had zero impact on the price of this game. However, most people would say that this is not a game worth playing. I can understand why people would say that. I don't necessarily agree, but this game does not include the Snow Queen quest, which is a major part of the original Persona game. And the re-release on the PSP, sitting over there on my shelf, does contain the Snow Queen quest, so you have the full content of the game. Alright, now this game, despite being a quote-unquote lesser version, still sells for a lot of money. Yep. Talking like $500 for a complete box copy. The lowest I've ever seen is these 300 ones. If you can get lucky on an auction, you might get it for 300 some odd dollars. But yeah, very expensive game, holds its value. So if you're looking for something that you can buy that won't lose value, it's not a bad option, although I don't know if that'd be a good reason to buy a game. But I can't recommend playing it necessarily unless you really want to experience the original version of Persona in the West. But as far as owning a piece of Atlas and Persona history, this is a very cool piece to have. I've played it, and you can also get it. There is a cheaper way to get it legally. If you go to get a PlayStation Classic, it was one of the 30 games on the system. And you can get a PlayStation Classic for anywhere between $30 and basically $100 at this point. So, yeah, another way to get it legally and officially. The second game in the series to come out in the West, although not the actual second game. Here's the actual second game, which is confusing because these are the two the West got. They're technically the only North American released Persona games to never get a re-release. So they're not impacted at all by the re-releases, although there are re-releases for them, because this was originally a PS1 game. It's a PS1 game that never came out in the West. And this is a PS1 game with a PSP re-release that the PSP re-release never came out in the West. So as far as they go, they have definitely retained their value as well. But there's no re-release to compare them to. There's a fan translation of the PSP game going on with Eternal Punishment by the Iwakura team, but that's another story for another time. You can see this is another game that's worth a lot of money. 550, 250, 850. Holy cow. That's brand new. Okay. Another brand new 1400 for both. Yeah, as you can see, this game has definitely held its value 100%. All right. And then Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, PSP. Or Innocent Sin, PSP, I should say. Now, the original Innocent Sin on the PS1 did get a fan translation. All right, let's see. Yeah, so big box. This guy, you're talking $200 plus, most likely. This has a soundtrack included. Actually, pretty neat what they gave you in here. If I can open it up, my goodness. So inside the box. Yep, that's it. You get the Persona 2 Innocent Sin CD, which has approximately 10 tracks, one of which is Order of the Holy Lance, which is an amazing song. And then you get the PSP game with a manual and everything else. So, and you get the cool box. But, you know, obviously the box isn't a reason to get it, but it is a cool box. I'm not going to lie. Atlas really outdid themselves with the box for this one. But yeah, so since those two didn't get remakes, they're not affected price-wise, or there's no version that's better, technically speaking, to go get instead. We move on to Persona 3. Now this one's kind of a weird situation. There's actually 3 releases for Persona 3, but the original is this one. It actually is the only way to get it was with this big box version. Came with a decent sized, decent quality art book, relatively thick compared to what you would think from Atlas. Also came with a soundtrack for some reason, but it's like one of these slipcover soundtracks. I don't remember the track list actually is for that, so I can't really give that to you. And then it came with this version of Persona 3, which technically has this artwork on the back and almost nothing else, because the box has more information too. But this is, generally speaking, considered the absolute weakest copy of Persona 3, because it's got some actual gameplay mechanics that were changed later on in the re-release, which is Persona 3 FES. It was only the dominant Persona 3 version for a period of a few months before FES was announced. So it wasn't out on the market very long before the successor / upgrade to it came out. And then there's also Persona 3 Portable, and both of those games are actually quite desirable, but FES is the cheapest. I got my copy for like $15 on eBay a couple years ago. But Persona 3 special edition. Let's see if that's right. Yep, so there's that right there. So these are very expensive now as well. Now, it's kind of interesting because nobody actually wants to play this version of the game, but everybody wants to own it. It's kind of an oddball thing, because if you look at Persona 3 FES, it's actually pretty cheap. 34, 40, 10, 20, 35, 30, 28, 40. Yeah, like this is a highly desirable version. It's more expensive than the one that people prefer to play. And then there's also Persona 3 Portable, which has its own pros and cons, which I'm not going to get into today. But a lot of people do like this because it adds direct party control. Another very expensive game. 250, 240, 270. A lot of high prices for that one. But this one, yeah, this one commands a pretty high price despite being obsoleted. All right, moving on. We're on to Persona 4. Is this game still valuable with Persona 4 Golden out there? I would argue no, but other people really prefer some of the voice acting in the original. Persona 4 PS2. It's just like I expect. These games have gone up in price, but not by a significant amount. Talking like $10 to $20 at most. And it looks like it's pushed between 20 and $35. It's definitely not the desirable version. And most people would prefer Golden because it's available on Steam. It's widely available. And it is the better version, other than some voice acting changes. But yeah, and this one also came with a soundtrack, which is pretty cool. Also on the PS2, a little less accessible nowadays. And last but not least, we have Persona 5. So Persona 5 released on the PS3 and the PS4. And this PS3 version was the original version that Atlas was designing when they decided kind of last minute to port to the PS4. And so then when PS5 Royal came out, Persona 5 Royal came out, and they decided not to put that on the PS3. It was kind of a slight to the PS3 owners. And a friend of ours on the channel, Spencer from SMT Network, Spencer Presley, pointed out that never forget what they took from you, and he basically put the Persona 4 Royal cover on a PS3 disc case and said that should have also been out. I agree, it should. But yeah, this is a relatively cheap game for now, and it's a widely sold game. And so if you want it, it's available. I doubt it's going to go up. And I think it's actually cheaper than Persona 5 Royal. Yep, Persona 5 Royal is slightly more expensive, but not by much. Persona 5 is still really cheap to get. So if you want it, I'd scoop it up now based on the pricing of all the previous games I showed you. All of these games end up being worth something at some point. But anyways, a brief look at what has happened to the original Persona games that have been obsoleted by their later counterparts. What do you guys think about that? Comment down below. Did I miss anything important? And if so, tell me what it was. And what do you guys think about the impact that the newer version of the games has on the old version of the game? All right. As always, I'm Chris. I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye, guys.